Welcome back to Touhou Project Mania Cup number 4. We are officially in the semifinals, and this is your semifinals Mappool showcase. And we are pleased to present to you the maps that you will be playing. I am Paturages. I'll be commentating this showcase with Nightkore. How are you?
Hello, Paturages. I am doing well. We do have the double European commentary, and I do believe this is one of our first double commentaries for the Mappool showcase. So here we are. We come down to the point where we only have 12 teams left. So around the 40 players mark. So all 40 of these players will see what's in store for them for this week. So we have a really special pool cooked up as well, mostly full of customs. So we can just kind of get into it.
Yeah, I believe that the quarterfinals was really full of customs. Like literally everything was custom or something. So pretty impressive work from the mappers behind the scenes and also the playtesters involved. I know that like a lot of quality checks went into organizing and stuff. So having some eyes behind the scenes, there's definitely a lot of work being put there. So starting from the first map, Rice number 1. Rice number 1 is going to be a high lotto map, and I do believe that in this tournament in particular, Rice number 1 is the streams map, so high lotto streams.
High level streams. Yep, you will be correct. So jumping into Rice 1. So we're going to be seeing more of those 300 BPM streams that we have seen from last week. So again, to be expecting a lot more tougher snappings for all our players to kind of to challenge their fingers on pretty much.
Yeah, honestly, this verse is looking like pretty flowy. Some bursts here and there, some notes, some speed changes here and there, some bursts before the chorus, and some graces in the chorus even. That's not straightforward.
It is pretty typical high level fashion to see it. It will definitely be hard to transition in and out. We are seeing a couple of those broken jump stream areas as well, accompanied by, a lot more of those, I would say, a lot of those middle trills and even some side trills as well that all players kind of do have to focus on.
Yeah, I think the dynamic is especially anchored around the two-hand trills. There's some camel one-handed patterns here and there, but they're pretty sparse.
Definitely, and again, like you don't really have much time to rest, as although the solo is fairly simple, and actually the transition into that break being fairly awkward to hit. Small bit of fairly wobbly scene line for the drop, and heading into the transition again, you have to manage that monstrous long stream as we do get into kind of the small build up before the final ki.
Yeah, honestly, you get a fair amount of downtime in this pick in particular. There's a lot of empty space, there's a lot of breaks, but the speed parts do really hit you hard. And maybe for some people, the stop and start, just switching between the breaks and the full-on stream sections like this chorus is probably going to be difficult, going to be destabilizing, potentially.
Definitely. So yeah, as you were kind of more saying around the start and stop orients about this, definitely will favor a couple of more teams. And actually, as we do see in the second ki, it does get a small bit more oriented around more mini jacks, so don't really get caught off with them. Again, 168 mini jacks in this is pretty scary, and especially that's near the end, nerves will be more of a high at that point. So better just keep your eye on a pick like this. A pretty decent step up from what you've seen from quarters.
Yes, definitely, both in terms of dynamics and physicality as well. So a pick to a pick to bear in mind. And we are going into the gem stream. And what kind of BPM is going to be? The gem stream is going to be 260 BPM. We are going into the semifinals with 260 BPM in mind. So I dare ask what is going to happen in the finals and the grand finals. Are we going to reach 300?
It's very... I don't even want to imagine. It's going to be very scary. So, as we do get into this is going to be a bit more... I would say a bit more around the bursty area, kind of more streamy. So, we're going to see a lot of those trills accompanying the jump stream. Which, again, it's pretty standard fashion when it does come to it. Again, you have to be pretty prominent in keeping up playing 260 BPM jump stream for this amount of times, and even with the non-ki sections as well, you know, it's still kind of, you know, making sure you don't really slack off, especially a lot of those alternating trills and even some hands we can see as well from there.
Yeah, I think compared to Rise number 1, this one is gonna put a lot more emphasis on the one-handed trills than yeah, Rise 1 is not so much on the one-handed trill dynamic that it is on the two-hand dynamic and the physicality of it. This one really puts a lot of emphasis on the one-hand trills. It does have some two-hand trills as well, but like the dynamic is kind of all over the place, but still flows like a gem stream map that you've known, for example, in MWC.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is very... I would definitely say this is very flowy, with some of those trills kind of maybe slightly disrupting the flow a small bit. I do believe we even see some of those split thrills and even some hands as well around that ki. So definitely something to kind of catch your eye on. And now we're actually even seeing longer one-hand trills as well, which well, you just gotta hope you can kind of, you know, go in and out from them, because missing on some of those, well, it would be fairly rare to come out clean.
Yeah, honestly, those patterns don't really look that intuitive, all things considered. Like, it's not your run-of-the-mill 260 BPM gem stream. It's definitely it definitely throws enough wrenches at you that you might want to double consider this. Like, at least take a look at it before you go into it, kind of thing.
Yeah, we just hope all players will be not sight reading this, especially at this point in semis where, like, the risks are pretty much very high.
Yeah, I feel like that's a brutal side trade to be going through. I feel like a few teams at least are going to go through that side trade and going to be a little bit surprised by what there is in this 260 BPM gem stream.
Also, can I just mention that we've seen in the second ki where there's a couple of 130 anchors as well around a jump stream that, you know, it's just kind of throwing a lot more at you when you do get into near the end of the map, just kind of that final sprint before the finish line, pretty much. And we can even see here as well when it does come to the outro. So this map is just not giving you any chances to breathe, and especially that closing trill at the end. I mean, not trill stream.
Yeah, you mentioned the lack of breaks. This pick is also like 3 minutes and 37 seconds long, so it's really starting to pull on the stamina, and it's probably even going to bite some people who were feeling comfortable on the quarterfinals. So we got to be careful tackling this one. But this was quote unquote the speed jump stream map. Now we're going to go into the actual stamina pick that is going to be actually shorter than the speed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you were saying. Yeah, actually, I actually do believe there's an 8-second difference between this and race 2. So it's going to be more of a pure jump stream pick. So again, we were kind of having a bit of a BPM step up from last week, 12 BPM step up. So heading into that 240 range. So we're just already getting into it. The intro kind of just to start you off a bit, and you can see a lot of those trills, which I do believe will be following, which we will be seeing a lot more of those trills when you get into the map.
Okay, so this is 242 BPM, and in terms of pattern differentiation, this jump stream map is going to feature a lot more dense patterns, like some split trills here and there, some hands, some one-hand trill dynamics. Overall, I feel like just looking at it, it looks a lot denser than Rise number 2.
Oh yeah, I really agree with that, because Rice 2 I'd say is more diverse in mixed Rice patterns, but more primarily focusing on the jump stream. But this is just going to be pure jump stream patterns. So again, it will be kind of make a bit more sense to why this would be a lot denser. But as we do kind of get into this more solo area, we're seeing a lot more of those cross-handed trills. And a lot more of pretty much everything, and it would be pretty nasty to miss in the transition to the break as well.
Yeah, I feel like at the 242 BPM mark, if you see like the recurrence of those split jump trails, I feel like this is going to be defined as the split trill pick of some sort.
Yeah, if the hints for this map and our previous weeks didn't really tell you, but so yeah, this map will pretty much tell you that, you know, this is a split frill pick. So yeah, it's not really something that the average player can, I'd even say, be able to get 800k on. Well, I mean, I know like the average skill player is going up, so you know, and that's a pretty nasty trill transition when we do get into the second Ki. I do believe this does follow a bit more the same format as the first Ki, but we're seeing a lot more of those alternating jumps. You see those 2 jumps on the left hand, then we're seeing to the right hand as well. So it does kind of have its uniqueness compared to the first Ki.
Yeah, honestly, just looking at this map, it's just really tiring just to look at it. And yeah, like in terms of density and dynamic, it leaves even less breaks than Rise number 2, and I felt that Rise number 2 already didn't leave that many breaks. So yeah, this is just absolutely brutal.
Yeah, besides the small break in the middle, this is definitely going to be a lot heavier when it does compared to last week's Rice 3. At least Rice 3 was definitely more of last week, so kind of did have those mini stops. But like this is more pure break and then just pure. Even then at the end as well, you could see even some of those stream patterns, which again a bit heavier snapped, but. So it's just pretty important that you don't really mess up with that. So now with Rice 3 done, we can jump on to our Jack pick, Rice 4.
Rise 4 is going to be the core Jack pick, and what kind of BPM are we going to get in semifinals?
I would probably say it'd be a bit more denser, but probably going to be around near the same BPM, I'd reckon.
150 is going to be my bet. I think like 150 sounds good.
Last week was 144, but it was fairly light. Oh god, I already see the score. And okay,
Oop.
so you are correct. It's 150.
So yeah, 150 I feel is still a little bit low compared to the caliber of remaining teams and players. So I feel like 150 BPM is still going to be in the realm of people are going. Some players are definitely still going to find this pretty easy, potentially the easiest map of the pool, potentially just an accuracy test, a ratio test. But we've seen players already miss multiple times on the core jacks in the quarterfinals. So increasing the BPM is just gonna increase the chances of getting those misses like the ones in this replay.
The density is definitely starting to pick up a bit. We're definitely seeing more of those hand jack and even some of those quads as well. And although with the BPM increase, we are seeing a lot more of those anchors, as we did see it in the first Ki. Definitely seeing a lot more of those 3-note, even some 4-note, even some 4-note one-handed patterns as well. Which again, the finger control, you pretty much have to be pretty solid at everything when it does come to jacks if you do want to come out and just pick a life. And just judging by it, already looking, although it's only 2 minutes, it's definitely a map that you have to watch out for.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bang. You just kind of go with a bang on this kind of pick. You either nail it or you bomb it. It's that kind of pick.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be. I reckon this is probably going to be a very common ban for a lot of players. The way I kind of see it is like there's the players who can play core jack in tournaments and the players who just can't. It's really just one of those things where you can either do it or you just can't do it. And it's definitely going to be, and it's definitely going to show when we do get into the matches next week, where we're going to be seeing probably some teams, probably a lot of teams going to be protecting this, and a lot of teams going to be banning this as well.
Yeah, that was already the case in quarterfinals. And I feel like the same kind of dynamic is going to continue going into the semifinals. But increasing the BPM might change some team strategies, as well as the patterning is also a little bit more anchory than last week. So gotta take that in mind. So going into Rise number 5 is going to be the only non-custom map of this pool apparently. So it's going to be No Life Queen by Elixir.
Very prominent mapper in the Mania scene, especially for a lot of tournaments as well. So this is going to be our wildcard. This is going to be our wildcard race. So around the mixed race, and it's going to be pretty dumpy as well.
Or actually, it might be a custom. I don't really remember, but it doesn't really make a difference of what you're playing right now. It's just gonna be a dump slash Jackie structure like Exire likes to do on many song choices.
Yeah, pretty much. So as we are seeing from pretty much from the first quarter, it's just really can you handle those mixed rice and technical bursts in between that jump stream? Again, a jump stream is a bit heavier just due to the BPM in general, but as soon as you jump into the first Ki, we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more of these more mixed rice, a lot of those streams, even some of those flams, how like close they are to the jacks. Definitely not really good. Definitely going to be pretty tough for everyone to kind of micromanage in between.
Yeah, especially considering the BPM, like 165 BPM mini jacks, like quote unquote light core jack. Going into stream transitions is definitely going to require a lot of brain power and focus to just stabilize yourself to either aim for accuracy against the top teams or just survive, not catch a combo break.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think this is definitely going to be one of the maps that we're going to see a lot of players be fairly prone to missing. Even then, like the non-Ki parts are still like very challenging to kind of still hold your consistency on, kind of jumping in and out from a lot of those kind of alternating patterns for those streams. As we can kind of see that repeating pattern of that stream, it looks like a pretzel, but as we do get into the last Ki, we do see that speed up as well, and we do get the denser patterns when we do get into the vocals.
Yeah, the pitch up chorus is just a classic in like Japanese song structure. You just have to pitch that up and maybe speed that up a little bit like Galaxy Collapse does. Wait, Galaxy Collapse uses that pattern. Okay, I kind of just realized.
Well, I mean, like every player is probably familiar with Galaxy Collapse at one point. So
yeah, Galaxy Collapse is a Touhou song choice, I swear. No, it's not.
It's from UFO.
Wait,
no, is it from UFO?
Wait! Is Galaxy Collapse a Touhou originating song?
Yeah, it is. It is Helian Alien, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the artist Kurokute, I'm pretty sure she Yeah, she makes a lot of remixes from. She makes a lot of remixes from Touhou songs, like Scattered Faith as well. So here we are, getting into Rise 6. This
Oh.
could be more of a classic style technical pick, I do believe.
Yeah, so this is going to be more a more snappy, a snappier technical pick. So it's also going to be kind of dumpy in structure, but kind of more structure around bursts, and it's just way more rigid structure than the Exire's map.
Yeah, we can already definitely see fairly similar to what we've seen from Shoegaze with pick on Rise 6 last week. But yeah, as you were saying, there's definitely going to be more of an intrusive on flams, probably make this more around the accuracy test and more of the physical test. But we can also see those anchors accompanying it as well. But yeah, now as we do get into the first Kia, we do have a lot of those mini-jacked lamb bursts as well. And just as the vocals do get heavier, we see a lot more of those streams and some jump streams as well.
Yeah, keep in mind that this is marked as 146 BPM, so a lot of those bursts and those speed ups might be equivalent to like 292 BPM, which is kind of intimidating to think about.
Definitely. And as well, you're kind of, as well, like, you can even see some polyrhythmic mini jacks as well at 146 BPM, especially that's more for no anchors. If you were one of those players who were struggling last week on the previous Race 4, then this is definitely going to be a map that you might want to kind of stay away from. But again, we're still keeping very consistent with the difficulty as we did see from the indication.
Like back to the comparison with Elixire's map, like the previous Rise. The previous Rise from Elixire was flowing a lot more than this one. Like this one is a lot more start and stop than Elixire's map. Elixire's map was a lot more reliant on the flow, on the vocals and so on. Like this one is a lot more rigid, as I said.
It's definitely a lot burstier, that's what we can see. Like, there's not really much difficulty spikes besides the occasional weird transitions. I do believe that what we have seen from when we just got into the final third quarter, there's a very deadly, I do believe, 6-note anchor jumped into a technical burst, which is definitely going to be one of the points that players you have to watch out, and especially with this outro as well, where we're kind of seeing this broken jump stream-esque type pattern before the map's over, pretty much. And that is going to be concluding our ordinary Rise picks. So now we can get into our Rise X.
Yeah, RCX, the hardest map in the pool, and the starting is not really telling the whole story here. And I mean, Scoliosis ET, I forgot who that was in actuality. But I do believe that their technical structure... Oh, wow, this anchor is already like nuttiest heck.
Yeah, this is going to be mixed race, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, it's looking like it. It's like looking very shoegazery in terms of mixed rice.
And oh my god, yeah, this is definitely the Race X of all time. We can even see some quad stream in the middle of it. It's just a map that, you know, it's just, you have to go into it. And wow, just looking at the map already in general, this is definitely going to be a step up. We're seeing a lot of those jump stream, a lot of those technical bursts, even some of those anchors that alternate between BPMs, which again is just going to be very brutal for those who dare try jump into it.
Yeah, honestly, like, if you remember Calamity Fortune from quarterfinals, this is looking like the super version of that map. And oh my god, those glut transitions, those mini jack transitions. Oh my god. Are players gonna have to play that?
Mind you, it does speed up to 189 BPM, I do believe, so players will have to transition into that higher speed change, and it looks like we're getting into it with more of those polyrhythmic structures, a lot more of those weird, pretty unique hand stream, and a lot of those streams. Again, a heavier snappings as well. So like, you're managing around the high 200s, low 300s in the BPM, And again, you pretty much get no breaks as well. Even in the breaks, there's still a lot of those weird bursts. I guess this would be considered somewhat of a break, but even then, you still have a lot of those triple jacks going out, and that nasty trill there as well.
Yeah, it really tries to push just everything at you, just the worst patterns in mankind. Yeah, I do believe like there's 1,000 reasons you could combo break on this kind of pick.
But hey, that makes Rice X Rice X. And that's what makes this tournament fun.
Ayo.
Pretty funny picks.
Ayo,
Okay,
indeed.
so now that concludes our Rice picks, so we can jump into hybrids.
Yeah, the first hybrid is going to be the most straightforward of the hybrids, because the other ones are most likely going to be a lot more technical than this one is. This one is going to be more focused on speed and a little bit of coordination as well, LN density as well, at 235 BPM, no less.
Yep, still jumping up to that BPM range. We're seeing a lot of those broken jump stream and a lot of that stream and some of that coordination as well, as you did say. Again, it's kind of managing those density bursts along with the jump stream and some of those LN trills as well. Again, at OD 7.5, you're kind of more getting to the point where it's starting to get a bit more common that you will drop 200s on some of those LNs if you don't really find your mojo.
Yeah, some of those bursts are a bit intimidating as well. It is definitely very speedy.
Yep, you did say it. And as we do get into this more guitar solo-esque area, this song's a bop, by the way. I just want to say that. We're seeing a lot more. We're seeing a lot more of those coordination parts, even some reverse shields as well, as we are seeing. But now we can kind of jump back into what we have seen from the same format as we have seen in the first quarter. A bit of some of those jump stream, hand stream, so those trills that we have seen in picks like Rise 2, Rise 3. Gonna be more, as you said, they're gonna be more for consistency. So yeah, consistency pretty much is key. Haven't really seen much spikes. It's just kind of if you do have a knowledge of the map and kind of have that pretty much technicality of being able to hit stuff like this. You should be pretty fine at something like this.
Yeah, this hybrid is actually kind of funny in structure. It's like it just goes back and forth between LN sections, like LN density sections and jump stream sections. It's essentially 2 picks in one if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, it actually does kind of follow fairly similar structure from what we've seen from last week's hybrid one, where it's gonna be your jump stream into the LN density, and as we do get near the end, we're seeing the LN being accompanied more by the rice, so kind of a mix of both. But as we do get into the outro, I don't believe there's going to be any more. There's not going to be much more difficulty left, as yeah, that's going to be it.
Yeah, 7.5 OD is going to be a fair amount more forgiving than the rice picks, especially since like 235 BPM, the rice patterns were not really forgiving at all. There were still dense, still featured some split trails here and there. So the leniency of the OD might help you on that pick in particular. But let's go into hybrid 2, the technical / Jackie hybrid.
I already see the replayer's name is I actually forgot already. My attention span is fried.
My God. We don't have we don't have Subway Surfers here to help us with our short-term memory, but oh my God, those jacks are at 170 BPM.
Yikes! And we're already kicking into it. A lot of those alternating technical bursts and accompanied by a lot of those short LNs actually, and OD 7.5 as well, where we're seeing a lot more of those scattered LNs accompanied by that. The intro just wants to take that energy away from you already.
Wow, this is really Jackie. They weren't kidding when they told us that this hybrid was Jackie.
Yeah, and to manage those releases into those reverse shields as well, and a lot of those stream bursts into the transitions. It's throwing every single jack pattern pretty much you. Well, besides score jack, but um. So yeah, you're seeing a lot more of those shields as we are seeing into the transition into, I do believe, where we're going to get into our main Ki section.
Yeah, honestly, like the jack key structure, the jack patterning in this kind of 170 BPM, like mid speed, high speed kind of thing, kind of reminds me of Trouble's kind of, for example, Psyche Hype or some other maps like Tadaru something. I don't remember the full like title.
Yeah, and here we go into our final drop. We're going to actually see a lot more of those shield patterns, and definitely going to be a lot heavier on the LN compared to what we have seen from the intro, and yeah, compared to what we've seen from the first half pretty much. A lot more of those shields, managing them at 170 BPM along with all the other releases at OD 7.5. And the only thing it gets harder from here is an understatement because, well, I hate to break it to you, but it is. And as we get into the last quarter, we are kind of seeing more of that same format we are seeing from the first half. A lot more of those pretty densely packed trills, but we do see a lot more LN when it does come to this.
Yeah, like the releases are not necessarily pretty difficult. It kind of lends into the kind of reverse shield kind of structure, and in terms of snapping, it's probably going to be kind of autopilot in terms of release control, but the coordination is especially going to be high, like especially demanding the same kind of skill sets as you would use for a timing hell, for example.
Yeah, pretty much. If like there's anything that would be close to timing hell, I would say this would be probably one more of the closer ones. So yeah, that is going to conclude Hybrid 2. Now we are going to get into our final Hybrid pick. Is going to be, well, what comes after 2? Hybrid 3. And already just judging by the replay, this definitely, I feel like it's going to be more of a fight compared to last week's.
So this is kind of the wild card that kind of slides itself between the two hybrids that you've seen. And
yeah.
Let's see what this has to provide. Like, this is 172 BPM as well, so pretty similar speed in terms of mini jacks as the hybrid number 2. But like the dynamic is going to be a little bit more one-handed.
Yeah, we can already see from this intro, just kind of giving you a taste test for what we are getting into the map. Oh my god, already just jumping in with those short LN anchors at 170 BPM, managing those bursts. Even then we can see from the replayer, finding a miss in any of those bursts would be absolutely detrimental. So it is going to be probably one of our riskiest picks, and definitely a lot different compared to what we have seen last week.
Yeah, I mentioned the releases on Hybrid 2 being kind of not that challenging and just kind of autopilot. This is the complete opposite. This goes just kind of everywhere in terms of staggering and then just release timings and and long note lengths and so on.
Thankfully now that we have gotten through the main course, we still have the after half to get through. You do get a pretty nice break here, but again, you're just going to be jumping straight into that next 1 minute of hell. But you do get a nice break to make up for a bit of that compensation. But I do imagine that when we do get into our final quarter, it is going to be probably following the same format, but maybe a bit more unique. So you do get those Fallen Symphony-esque patterns, a lot more of those free-no micromanaging some of those releases as well. And actually kind of a near inverse transition into the second drop where it does actually get faster. And those anchors have turned into trills that we have seen for the first drop.
Ooh, that is very neuro-funk core patterns here, and yeah, the song choice definitely lends into that kind of Abraxas core, quote unquote. I say that with big quotes because this is This is less abrasive than Abraxas structure, but it does definitely lend into that register.
Yeah, totally. And as we do get into kind of the outro of the map, I would say it's definitely a bit lighter to compare to what we've seen, but again, still pretty challenging. You still have, it is a bit lighter on the shields, but a bit heavier on some of those longer LNs. So I would definitely say that's going to be also a pretty commonly banned map as well by a lot of players. But now that does conclude our hybrids. We can jump into our final category of this stream. Well, I mean, excluding tiebreaker. We are going to be jumping into our LNs.
Yes, the Longinus notice, starting with LN number 1, that is going to be a little bit more coordination oriented.
And here we are, jumping into the 230 BPM barrier now. It's still going to be, we're going to be seeing a lot more, I would say, unique snapped LNs to kind of account to the fact, well, you know, a lot of people do find the higher BPM LNs a bit easier to adjust, as there might not be, as you can kind of autopilot some LNs at that BPM, but this is definitely not one of those cases.
So here we are going to have Raisen's style of timing hells. I feel like depending on the mapper, you kind of get some different flavors of timing hells, quote unquote. I feel like timing hell is kind of a category that encompasses, like, it's an execution of the player's like insanity. Like, each mapper has their own insanity going inside their head, and yeah, it's just unfurling here.
And yeah, as you did say, again, we are seeing a bit more of the denser LNs do appear when we do get into more of the vocals, as we have seen from there, just kind of giving us a small break before jumping straight back into it. Again, we're really more focusing on a lot more of those, you know, one hand kind of alternating both releases and seeing how well you can kind of just focus on the second hand as well, trying to alternate between both hands pretty much when it does come to a lot of those releases. The OD kind of does make up a small bit for only being around the OD 7.2 range, but still a bit pretty decent step up. And as we do get into the Ki again, we're going to be seeing a lot less of those gaps as well.
Yeah, honestly, like, those gaps do definitely contribute to the difficulty of it all. Like, it's not something that you can autopilot into like straight inverse or something. Like, you have to pay attention to the release timings and so on. And 3 minutes and 16 seconds with not that many breaks in the song. Like, even this break, quote unquote, is just requiring this focus because those limited density patterns are definitely still coordination demanding.
Yeah, totally. Especially even the awkwardness of a lot of those patterns could be more comfy, even Rocky Mirror just for that. But as we do get into the last bit, we are getting a bit more of the jump stream when we do get into that guitar solo, which does make it a small bit denser, but again, we're just kicking back into it for the final A for the map, where again, we're jumping into what we have pretty much seen from the first two Ki's. This is going to be more of a consistency test compared to, well, more difficulty spike oriented. It's just really, if you do have that knowledge of the map, then it can kind of be something. It can kind of be something you'd be a bit more comfortable on.
Yeah, it's definitely lending towards the consistency type of pick that you are going to see. I feel like LN number 2 is also going to be consistency based, but it just in a more density oriented way. But the wildcards are where you are going to have like more brutal picks rather than consistency based ones. But let's go into number 2, LN number 2, that is going to be the density oriented map. And I feel like this is also going to require not only consistency, but also sort of physicality, LN stamina in a way.
Pretty much. And already just judging by the replay score, I can expect this to be very scary. And yeah, as you were saying, we're jumping into 200 BPM range now. I do believe last week was around 190. To make a jump like that over the 10 BPM gap, definitely going to be a lot scarier. even then, when we aren't in the main focus of the song, we're seeing a lot more of those weird releases as well at OD 7.5 as well, may I add.
Yeah, honestly, like it's not a straight density pick either. Like some people might expect like straight jump stream, like straight LNJS or something, but no, this is not this kind of density. Like this has a fair amount of fast coordination dynamics, and like compared to Rice, not Rice, not compared to LN number one. It's definitely going to require a lot more physicality to sustain those just fast-paced patterns.
Yes, I would totally agree with you on that. And actually, now as we are getting into the second KI, we're seeing a lot. We're seeing those gaps slowly but surely close in. Just pure jump stream LN, and even some inverse gaps as well, which you just kind of have to. You just kind of have to know when they're coming in, transition in and out. When you get bursts inside your bursts of difficulty, that's when you know it's at that point where we're approaching the late game.
Yeah, like also you might take note of the mapper themselves, Mysterian. Very well versed in the art of making density picks not straightforward at all. Like you get some of those gaps here and there, just you cannot autopilot this as an inverse pick. Mysterian knows what they're doing, as always.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. Definitely a very unique and pretty fun map to watch out. Again, a lot of it is when it becomes, harder. It's very entertaining to watch. So as we do get into our final quarter, we do get a speed up actually, I do believe, as we do get the pitch raise and a lot more of those heavier gaps, even some trills in between some of those LNs as well. So just finding a break pretty much on any part of this map could just spells out doom on pretty much anything.
Yeah, honestly, like this pick is really well made. Like you get some of those elongated parts here and there. Like you cannot rely on just playing this as jump stream and all. It definitely puts a lot of toll on your fingers. You have to hold those down a lot of the time. And that's why it is an LN density pick, not just a straight jump stream pick.
And the fact that this is also the fact that like there's pretty much no breaks in the map as well just only adds the difficulty up a bit more from that. Like even on like the parts where there would even be breaks, you still have a bit of coordination to be working on there, and at OD 7.5 as well. But now, with LN2 out the way, we can jump into our last ordinary pick of the match, actually, which is going to be our LN3.
Well, we still have the LNX as well, but LNX is not super ordinary, quote unquote. So, LN number 3 going to be the wild card, the normal wild card. And that is going to be a Castella map, another Castella map. Castella just maps a lot, didn't they?
They do a lot. So, jumping into it already, we're just kind of following fairly Castella ordinary structure. A lot of those mix of a bit of density and a bit of that coordination as well. Also seeing some mini jacks as well between it.
Yeah, honestly, like this pick is especially stringent on the mini jack department. Like the mini jack department, as Castella likes to do, is like very patterned on the one-handed coordination strain, especially when you mix that with the LNs. You have to hold down those LNs while dealing with those mini jacks. It just kind of contributes, it just kind of amplifies the difficulty of both the LNs and the mini jacks in return.
Oh yeah, totally. And just as well, like you're just alternating between density, some coordination, and even some of those shields and mini jacks as well while managing both can. Like, you will have to be pretty good at micromanaging pretty much each section of the map. And as we do get into guitar solo, we're seeing a lot more of those, we're seeing a lot more of the technicality shrine and more of those shield type patterns as well. And especially some of those bursts, especially that transition into the halfway mark of the map.
Yeah, you get a tiny break here. Just rest your fingers because those mini jacks are definitely a fair amount tiring, especially at 156 BPM. It's definitely upwards in terms of physicality for an Ellen pick.
And yeah, we're going to be following, I would say, a bit more of that jump stream-esque, accompanied by a lot more of those shields as well. Going to be a bit more simple when it does come to a lot more of those releases, as we are seeing from here, which does make it a bit easier to find that autopilot. But it will not really be following that for, you know, the final core of the map. That's only one section of this daunting 3-minute 15-second long map as well.
Yeah, thankfully the outro is pretty much a cooldown. Never mind, it still kind of just throws those mini jacks still in this one last section, one last quarter to go.
And it is not really lowering the difficulty anytime soon. Actually being fairly unique in its own right, seeing even some reverse shields as well. And just giving just one last throw of everything, pretty much. Seeing a lot of those coordination and is more focused on that density, but we are seeing a lot more of those coordination bursts and a lot more of those shields. And it's actually the jacks are actually getting a lot heavier coming into the outro. And that little handstream section at the end as well could potentially be one of the deciding factors as well if you're not too careful. But now that will conclude all our LN picks, and now we only have LNX left before we get into the tiebreaker.
Yeah, if that was already intimidating, I cannot imagine how intimidating the LNX is going to be. 6.21 star rating. It kind of tells the story of pretty high density, pretty high packed bursts, potentially somewhere in the map. 2 minutes and 41 seconds. It's kind of in the long side, not too long, however. We're going to see what contributes to the star rating exactly.
Judging by kind of the start, we're just seeing very dense LN-esque patterns. Coordination jumped in with some of that LN density. I did even see some LN handstream as well, but it's more kind of broken when it does come to a lot of those releases. But again, at 175 BPM, you're managing those shields and just accompanied by the LNs and everything else makes it a pretty powerful knuckle sandwich to anyone who dares try this.
Oh yeah, you get this anchor kind of layered with the vocals here, just to give kind of an emphasis here and there. But it is a pretty difficult, pretty straining on the coordination and control aspect of the map. And from what you saw from the beginning of the map, it is both physical and coordination demanding. And like this is the pinnacle of like if you're good enough, you can consider this as a consistency pick. But if you're not good on the LNs, this is pretty much a battle of survival.
Yes, pretty much. And I wouldn't be surprised if we are seeing a lot, if the protect and ban rate of this map is fairly high as well. Like, you cannot really afford to find any note locks or combo breaks in this pick, as, you know, if your opponents can just keep their consistency, then that's pretty much going to be one of the biggest deciding factors. As we are getting kind of into more of a build-up part, we're seeing a lot more of those LN trills, even some of those, maybe even some split frills, I do believe, in the middle of a lot of those LNs.
Yeah, those hands spread in there look really, really scary to handle. Like, you put a hand or a quad inside of anything, it just kind of breaks your flow.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially, we do kind of get this more stop and go-esque style stuff, which does kind of give players a small bit of a break. But again, we still have the final area of the map, which is going to be. Are those flams inside of those LNs? We're seeing inverse flams as well. Like,
yeah, no. No, this map is the kitchen sink, man. This map is cursed.
It looks very well made as well, though. So it actually is fairly classic Vito style mapping. But now that's gonna be all our regular picks pretty much done. So now all we have left is a tiebreaker, and pretty much what we can even see, pretty much gonna be interesting what we're gonna be seeing.
Yeah, RCX and LNX are both like 0.5 rounds harder than the mainstay of the pool, and the tiebreaker is designed to be 1 round harder than the average of the pool. And here you can almost taste the 7 stars from the tiebreaker. It is going to be whatever it is.
Beyond the Millennium, or pretty much Voyage 1969, because remix of Imperishable Night. Any Imperishable Night fans? Anyone? Okay, already coming off with the intro with pretty much near inverse. Pretty much near.
What is this intro? Hello.
Wow, this is just.
No, this is the funniest intro. And no, you cannot make it funnier.
We're seeing a lot more of those Fallen Symphony-esque patterns, and yeah, just a lot of those mini jacks as well. And here we go, just jumping into the pinnacle of a lot of those technical LNs, just all those releases as well, with those inverse bursts. Oh my!
Oh, this is very spicy. Like you get the alternation between like those full-on inverses and those like tight rice sections. This has more LNs than rice so far, but I dare ask what lies behind those LNs. The rice must be so brutal behind it.
Yeah, I'm already just looking, we're getting a lot of those alternating jumps between each hand, and some of those bursts, even, you can kind of see that mini jack into the alternating jump stream burst. And as we have seen a bit from earlier, we are getting a lot more of those inverse jump stream patterns as well, and just alternating between the BPMs as well. We do get to speed up as we are just in through the first quarter now.
Okay, let's go into the kind of neurofunk technical part. And those anchors, those mini jacks, those graces are really tight.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're seeing a lot more focus on those densely snapped mini jacks, and like it's going to be around like the 160, 170 BPM range as well, accompanied by all those LNs and even some of the shields in the near inverse as well, which like you're gonna have to be pretty much on your A game, especially playing a daunting map like this. When you're gone through, I do believe this is still going to be best out of 13. So yeah, you're pretty much going to be after 12 maps after this.
Yeah, it's staying the same as the quarterfinals. We are only going to go up 1 point. Oh, well, 2 maps more in the finals week 1. And let's go into kind of a more core jack oriented sort of part.
Don't let the BPM fool you, as again, it's still very heavy on the anchors, and going to be accompanied by a lot of those streams and some of those flams as well. Most of you are going to have to watch out for a lot more of those kind of anchor-esque, especially that nasty especially some of those nasty anchors there. And again, I would more say this is kind of around, definitely more one of the lighter parts. I do believe we do get a full break when we do get later into the map, but it's going to be acted as kind of a pre-break if you must.
Yeah, well, 7 minutes and 19 seconds is also really long for a tiebreaker. It's like pretty much on the long side. We're starting to get on the long side in terms of tiebreaker. And here we go for the speed up, the long-awaited speed up.
Yep, here we are getting near enough that 200 BPM range, where again it's going to be more simple jump stream, but a lot of those flams and some of those free note rolls could definitely throw a lot of the players off. And just already looking by this, definitely very uniquely mapped as well, having those jumps alternate between the middle and both sides as well. And here we are getting into that jump through as well. Do not miss there. Do not get a combo break there. Like, it's already just gonna be the biggest. Like, it's gonna just be waving a big red flag. around the lunar capital.
Yeah, I also find it funny that during the break, like the break section is long enough that you can see the opponent's leaderboard, and that's gonna put even more, um, like even more pressure on you and your teammate.
Oh my god. That is just gonna be like, especially now that we get to get into the final quarter where we are going to be seeing a bit of an increase in difficulty up to that 210 BPM range, and into the transition, here we go, seeing a lot more of those hybrid areas, a lot of those long one-hand trills with those rolls as well. Not really going to be too heavy on the LN side, but still to be still pretty pro to be dropping 200s on anything at this point.
Oh yeah, along with this high BPM, you get a lot of those tight patterns. You really amp up the one-handed trill, the two-handed trill, the mini jacks even. There's like 1,000 reasons to miss in there. And if you are in a tiebreaker situation, you know that a miss could cost you the victory. And oh my god, those graces are so tight.
A lot of those deadly packed jump stream before we get into the final 8th, and it's speeding up even more, seeing that inverse just right before it, and we still have a ton of map left where it's going to be a lot more LN heavy, straying a bit away from that jump stream, more into that kind of more around broken ass jump stream, and a lot more of those streams. But it actually does, it's kind of slowing down a small bit, but we still have the outro of the map where we're still keeping on to that consistency, still have around that last 30-second mark where you're still going to have to manage a lot of that inverse as well for that long, after a long hour match most likely.
And there it ends, just under the 10,000 combo mark. Just not quite reaching it, but not too far. But I dare ask, are we going to get the 10,000 combo in finals?
I believe it's possible. No!
Why? Why did you do this to us?
I definitely believe that had to be on purpose. Chibi, that had to be on purpose.
You're
Okay.
such a troll, man.
That's kind of based. Okay, so that is going to be concluding our semi-final showcase. We do have. Let me actually check how much maps there are again, so I can actually say what I need to say.
At
Okay.
least 5.
Yeah, 5. 5 plus daunting maps coming from the bottom of the Neverworld, pretty much. So yeah, that is going to be it. So good luck to the remaining 12 teams who are going to be putting up a really good fight on this week. So that's going to be pretty much us for now. So do you have anything else you want to say before we do sign off, Paturages?
Not really. Just brush your teeth and just be careful, because semifinals is looking quite spicy, to be honest. Yeah, just looking at his maps, it's just really intimidating for the players. I hope the players are prepared.
Yeah, that is pretty much. That's just pretty much it. Just be prepared. That's all I say. Do not sight read this, pretty please.
I know. I guess we can close this now, and we wish good luck to the players, and stay wogging, I guess.
Stay wogging. Yeah, stay wogging, and take care, everyone. Have a good day, good afternoon, good night. And we see you in a week time.